Call of the Wild, Chapter 6, A Dog in a Nest. Perlot spent the next morning away from camp trying to buy dogs. The loss of Curly could mean a delay in delivering the government messages. But Perlot was so determined to keep on schedule, he returned after lunch with 2 more dogs. "A man is bringing another one to me later," he told Francois, who was examining the newcomers, Billy and Joe. The 2 huskies are brothers, though Buck would not have guessed it. They were very different in manner. Billy was much like Curly, friendly and always looking for approval, but Joe had a mouth that was twisted into a permanent snarl and eyes that glared angrily. Spitz immediately rushed forward to teach the brothers that he was lead dog. He had no trouble beating up Billy. In fact, by whining and wagging his tail, Billy gave up before Spitz even touched him. Even so, Spitz bit him a few times in the flank before turning on Joe. Joe rose to his feet and faced Spitz. Spitz growled menacingly and circled Joe, but Joe kept whirling around and facing Spitz with blazing eyes and snarling lips. He feared Spitz, but he was ready to make a fight to the death. Spitz sensed this and dropped back, but, to save face, he pretended that he had never intended to attack Joe and went after poor Billy again. The man who had promised another dog to Perlot brought him into the camp before dinner. The dog was long and lean, with one eye and a face well scarred from fighting. "His name is Solix," the seller told Perlot. "It means angry one." Solix marched into their midst very slowly and deliberately. Spitz, who had risen when he smelled the stranger approach, immediately sat down again. This Solix was not a dog to be tangled with. But it was Buck's misfortune to tangle with Solix for the first and last time, though Solix was like Dave in that he wanted only to be left to himself. He had one odd thing about him. He would not permit another dog to approach him on his blind side. Buck, not knowing this, happened to do so on the first night. In a flash, Solix rolled on Buck as he passed and slashed his shoulder down to the bone. Perlot, who had been told about Solix's oddity, interfered at once and prevented further trouble, but all the dogs took the warning, and only Buck suffered through ignorance. With his shoulder paining him and the weather turning even more windy than cold than usual, Buck was uncomfortable and weary. Attracted by the glow of the candle in the tent where Perlot and Francois slept, Buck slipped in quietly under the flap into the warmth. But the 2 men set up a howl of curses at him and bombarded him with cooking in pots until he ran back into the snow. So, for about an hour, Buck wandered around the camp, searching for a warm spot. Savage dogs tried to rush him, but he snarled and saw with satisfaction how they backed down. A heavy snow started falling, and Buck was exhausted, and his shoulder throbbed painfully. Suddenly, he had an idea. He could find his teammates and see where they were sleeping. To his astonishment, they had disappeared. With a drooping tail and a shivering body, he searched for them. Then, near his owner's tent, his forelegs broke through the crust of the snow, and he sank down. Something wiggled under his feet, and Buck sprang back, bristling and snarling, but a friendly little yelp reassured him. When he investigated the hole, a whiff of warm air greeted him. There, curled under the snow in a snug ball, lay Billy. Immediately, Buck selected a spot and with much fuss and wasted effort managed to dig a hole for himself. He settled in, and soon the heat from his body filled the confined space. At last, in the nest of snow, Buck fell soundly and contentedly asleep.